Hello everyone, welcome to my first Instagram live post. I'm up here in beautiful Big Bear, California. As you can see, sun's coming up, a little chilly out, which is why I'm wearing my sweater. For anybody that's tuning in, doesn't know who I am, my name is Derek Miller. I was a financial advisor, financial consultant, business owner, and entrepreneur for the last 20 years. I worked for major firms, Merrill Lynch, Wells Fargo Advisors. Ran my own firm for over a decade. I want to use this kind of as just an introductory live kind of a thing. What I'm going to talk about is the media, the potential for war that's going on right now. I'm going to touch on the inflation and what's going on right now, where it came from and where it's headed. I'm just going to touch on it because I'm going to have a live stream tomorrow that's really going to dig into that inflation story. So the first thing I want to talk about is the media. One of the cornerstones of what I teach people is that you should turn the news off. First off, the stock market is a forecasting mechanism. Anything that they're saying is irrelevant. It was priced in 6 months ago. You have to know this so that you understand what they're doing in the media. If they are driving fear, what they are looking to do is to get you to sell, to get you scared, to get you hoarding cash. Why? Because they want to buy. When they're talking about the greatest things in the world and oh my gosh, it's magnificent, you'll notice that you'll go in to buy, whether it's investments, invest in your business, invest in real estate, you're buying oil, whatever you're doing, and you go, how could that have gone horribly wrong? How could I have missed that again? The media is counterproductive. Something that a lot of people don't know, and I'll use the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ, you see these guys come on and I manage $1 billion. And he does, right? And I'm not saying he's dumb. He's really smart for being there. And guess what? He's so smart. He's paying thousands of dollars an hour to sit there and talk to you. Why is he paying thousands of dollars an hour to sit there and talk to you? Because he has something to sell you. If he's selling you fear, he's a buyer. If he's selling you excitement, he's a seller. The media is working against you. Now, the general media, I don't know if half the time they have any idea what's going on or if they don't. If they're in on it, if they're not. If they're simply reporting the news and putting their own emotional spin on it or not. I don't know. I don't think it's a grand conspiracy. I don't believe that. I just think that they're human beings too. So if they're reading about World War III, the natural human response is fear. So the natural investment response is excitement. All right? I'll talk a lot more about the media and its implications, but just realize that you're watching commercials. I cannot stress that enough. You are watching commercials. The stock market is important. Even people that think it's not important, they say, well, I don't care about the stock market. I don't invest in that. I invest in my business. Well, let me ask you something. If you had a crystal ball and you knew where the economy was going to be 6 months from now, so you know, should I invest in my business or should I hoard my cash? That's not valuable to you? I talked to somebody who is a very, very successful entrepreneur the summer of 2022 last year. And he effectively told me that his advisors, and he has big guys, right? Blackstone, BlackRock, all these hedge fund guys. He effectively told me the world was going to implode in 12 months. So he was hoarding his cash. Well, here we are a year and a half later. I told him the stock market shows no signs of anything imploding. In fact, it shows buying. And you can go through my social media profiles. You will see that I was a buyer. You will see that I called this stock market bounce back to the highs, which means the economy had to bounce a little bit, right? Here he's hoarding his cash. He should have been expanding. He should have been moving. He should have been getting product out there. There were buyers. The money was still on the table. He just didn't know it because he was getting advice from guys. I don't know what the deal. I don't know why the information is so inaccurate, but I talk to these guys all the time. No, these guys, they went here, they went there. They're managers of this. They work at Goldman, so on and so forth. Look, if you didn't learn anything in 2008, 2009, when Goldman Sachs was hedging the company against its own clients, listen, this is the most successful firm in history. It hedged its money against its clients. So the risk management was what it was telling his clients to do? And these are your experts. I think you need to start looking in other directions. This is the kind of stuff I talk about. This is where I come from. War, this potential war. We're all supposed to be terrified. If I go through history and I point out wars, I can show you as many that sent us into the greatest economic booms history's ever known, compared to as many that have lost 50% in the next couple years. War is not a reason, not in 2023, for economic boom or economic collapse. War is an amazing talking point because war is scary. Or if you want to talk about the booms it creates, if you're on that side of the fence, if they want you to be excited, they can tell you all about how it pulled us out of World War II. And after World War I, we had the greatest economic expansion. They can tell you all about the great things. How war in 2000 pulled us, or 2001 rather, pulled us out of the internet bubble and into the greatest boom. One of the greatest real estate booms in history. It just depends how they want to spin it. War is not a reason to be afraid or excited. War is a horrific event. It's terrible. It's a bunch of guys, a bunch of old rich guys, sitting around hating each other, taking a bunch of poor guys, making them hate each other, only the poor guys go off and shoot each other, kill each other. The rich guys sit up there, still hating each other, but going to dinners at diplomatic events, right? War is a horrible thing. Horrible and easily resolvable. They don't want to resolve it. Fear, excitement, currencies, oil, markets, money. These are the important things to them. All right? And this is where I come from as a person. Now, there is a way to read the market live. There is a way to forecast the economy. There is a way to forecast the real estate market. There is a way to forecast the oil market. In fact, 2 years ago, and you can go back and look at my posts. I don't delete anything ever. I said when oil, USO, was trading at 41, that it would run to a little over 80. And I think it got closer to 90. At 78, I said oil would fall back between 55 and 60. It hit 57. How did I do that? Am I a soothsayer? I did the same thing with the market last year. When the NASDAQ, again, you check me out. When the NASDAQ was down at like 280, I said that it was poised for a rally back to 380. Bing, it hit. How? I'm not just calling things up. I'm not a financial advisor telling you, hang in there, don't do anything. When you do things, you make mistakes. When you do things without discipline or knowledge, you make mistakes. Those mistakes cost you money. I will show you how to do it accurately. Inflation. Was this anything that couldn't be foreseen? No. I'm going to get a lot into tomorrow, the Fed, and how it holds the purse strings of your life. Now, a lot of people are bored with this conversation because people come out and talk about it like it's a conspiracy. It's not a conspiracy, but it is a concerted effort. They are in control, and if you think it doesn't matter that they're in control of gasoline prices, grocery prices, rent prices, housing prices, every price on the planet because they control inflation, I have news for you. Inflation, the use of inflation, the use of the Fed will keep you in an invisible cage your entire life because the average person, I'm not talking about the top 1% of 1% where money doesn't even matter. I'm talking about, I don't care if you're making $1 million a year. This stuff affects you. It affects you dramatically. And to pretend it doesn't is a farce, right? It does. It's an invisible cage because when they want you to hop from right to left, all they do is create or reduce inflation. They come in and they have all their corporate buddies buy up all the real estate assets. Which they did in 2018, 2019, and they want to create a massive inflation boom in real estate. Guess what? You increase the currency in circulation by 50% at one time, which will drive real estate prices to the roof. And then when they jack up interest rates and no one can afford their mortgage anymore or to buy another house, it will tank the real estate market so they can buy up more supply. If this interests you, tomorrow morning at 9:30 Pacific Standard Time, I'm going to go live. I'm going to talk about inflation, where it comes from, where it's heading, and ultimately where it seems like it's going to play out. What is the Fed doing? Why are they doing? And how does it impact you? I don't get into charts when I'm talking about this stuff. This is all just talking about big picture. There are ways to read this, and I do that in another live stream. If you're interested, shoot me a direct message. I'll get you a time for that live stream where I actually review some charts. You can see what I do. You can see how I do it. And you can find out how I knew oil was going to go up 100% and then fall 50%. How I knew at the bottom of the NASDAQ, when everyone said the world was going to implode, and again, they were talking about World War III in the summer of 2002, in case you've forgotten, how I called that we were headed for a rally back to the highs that actually happened. Listen, this isn't a braggadocious thing. I want to prove to you that you can do this. Everyone can do this. You don't have to stare at charts. It takes an hour a week. For some of you, it'll take an hour once every 3 months to protect your assets from 50% drops. If it interests you, tune in. I'm going to talk more about it. I will be back on tomorrow morning, Friday, 9:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11:30 or 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll see you then.